We are live. Hello.
Hello.
So, I don't know what I'm doing. Just getting the camera turned on. Whoa, subject lost. No script, no plan, just gonna start talking. We'll fix it in post. Yeah, I don't have much of a plan. I'm just gonna start yapping. And I released a song recently under the name Badsleeper. Badsleeper is actually two people. It's me and my good friend Johnny Killian. So hopefully I can get him on camera soon and you guys can meet him and both of us can yap together about the project. So the project is brand new, but Johnny and I have known each other for a long time, been making music for a long time, but now we're finally recording and getting songs finished, or at least one so far. My main purpose with this video is I want to talk through the steps of how the song came to be. And there's a lot of elements to that, I think, because there's the technical side. You know, I recorded this and then I recorded another thing on top of it and like the song expanded. And you can talk through that technical side of creation, but there's also the more artistic side of creation, like what's motivating you to even make the music. What are you feeling while you're making the music, and like how are those feelings turning into sounds and words? What's going on in your life that's generating the feelings, right? There's so much that you can talk about, artistic and technical, and I want to talk about both sides. I want to talk about everything. Let's get into that, I guess. We're going to do a little breakdown of Tomorrow by Badsleeper. Badsleeper, all one word. And we're on Spotify, and we're on YouTube, and we've got newly created accounts on X and Instagram and all over the place. So I'll have a lot of links in the video. If you're interested or you like the first song, definitely connect with us on those platforms so that you can be in touch for when more music comes out. And more music is coming. I'm pretty happy with how Tomorrow turned out. It's exciting, being confident that it's only gonna get stronger from here. So, well, let me take it from the beginning. We have to go back about 5 years, maybe even 6 years, like 2019, 2020. I was probably around like 26 and living at home with my mom, going to school. I was enrolled in university. I think about that time, I could be like quite self-abusive and down on myself, not like physically, but like mentally, just like feeling like such a loser, and that's horrible. It's so horrible because there's like absolutely nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with living at home and taking your time, like developing your life in the direction that you want your life to go in, and developing your talents or whatever it is. And I just wanted to make a point about that. It's just absolutely fine to take your time figuring things out. And I'll get into more of how that shaped this song, I guess. Everyone develops at their own rate. So I don't know if this whole rant's gonna make it into the video, but living at home is just fine. But at that point in my life, I wouldn't accept that for myself, and I felt really down on myself and directionless and just set back, like I was a slow learner and a late bloomer, being in my undergrad from when I was 25 to when I was 28, I guess. So living at home, it's like 2019, 2020, I'm down in the basement, my dank pit, the dungeon. I'm just there like 2 or 3 in the morning with my guitar, and the sound will like really just resonate up through the floors. So I'm playing my guitar, like plucking away really quietly. Don't want to wake my mom up. And I was just like really sad. I was really bummed out about where I found myself in life. I was broke, in school, My main source of income was playing video games, playing Tekken, which, probably don't have to say, like, is rough. And it's all just like feeding into this mindset where I'm like, I just got nothing going for me. I feel like a loser. So there I am with my guitar, just plucking away. And I think I was talking about how, all the things that are happening in your life feed into how you feel, and then how you feel can feed like the sounds you start making, like on your instrument and with your voice and the words that you write. So feeling very melancholic, I was playing like a little something in F minor, some F minor chords and plucking away, and this little lyric popped into my head. There's like this lament, like, if I wait until tomorrow, will that be too long for me? Like, how much more time do I have? It has a very like memento mori, seize the day, but like a depressing way of thinking about it. It has that kind of quality in a sad way. And that was like where the song started. And I got this like lyric in my head, this little melody, and I started just very gently singing it. I'm like, oh, that might be something. And take out the phone, you gotta get it in the voice memos. If I wait till tomorrow, will that be too long for me? Wait till tomorrow, will that be one time for me? That little 3 a.m. basement recording. Some of the irony, I was saying like maybe the lyric has a somber seize the day quality to it, but I didn't seize the day. I mean, this thing just sat in my voice memos, like the voice memo graveyard of all these just like little ideas and little hummed melodies that I didn't have the drive or the confidence to do anything with them. They would just sit there, and my focus continued to be playing Tekken and trying not to fail school. I was not very passionate about what I was going to school for. I was studying electrical engineering just because I felt like I needed a degree that could make me money. And I really hated it, but I just kept plugging along. And that was hurting me as well, because I was very much suppressing an artistic and creative side of myself, where I've always been so passionate about music. And here I am, like, going to school for this technical STEM degree that I don't really care about, because I felt like, well, gotta make money. The song just sat there on my phone, my voice memos, like many other ideas, for probably another like 2 years, I would say. I would occasionally get these little like creative bursts of energy. I'd take out my laptop, open up Logic, primarily work in Logic. I like loaded that little voice memo in and determined what I was doing. Like, okay, I'm playing an F minor chord here, go to C minor, B flat minor, like, just lay that out and sort of just put the chords in there with like a little MIDI keyboard. You start making like the skeleton of a project. You don't really know what the song is going to be, but you're just like laying some stuff down to get organized. The melody itself, even though it was just there dormant in my voice memos, it would pop into my head from time to time, and it stuck with me. I think there's something cool about the melody. I think like the song's in F minor, but the melody does this little like dip down where it hits an E natural. A little bit of that like harmonic minor sound, which maybe is like a bit unconventional to have a pop song. Yeah, have a pop song that's like in F minor, but gives you a little bit of that like harmonic minor flavor. I'm not saying it never happens. I'm sure it happens, but it's not like the most common thing. So it had a little bit of character to it. I thought it was like a little quirky quality, and it would keep it coming back in my head. Like, oh, you should do something with that melody someday. Yeah, it's maybe like 2022 at this point. Load the voice memo into Logic. I'm like, okay, I think this melody's strong, and I've got these chords here, and like this is the chorus, this is the refrain, but you need a verse. And I'm like, what am I gonna do? Everything's such a question mark at that point. And so I'm like, all right, got a melody, got some chords, and the chorus is like would probably be like the bigger, more full part, so the verse would be like a bit more stripped down. So I guess like instead of chords, like I'll play single notes. I'll just play the root note of the chords. So I'm just like doom 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 doom. All right, yeah, like let's hear that. And I'm like, okay, like we got a verse. We got like verse instrumentation. It'll just be that. And it's like simple decisions like that, like where the direction of the song is really unfolding. Like you don't linger and like languish over the decision forever. You just like kind of go for it. Like, all right, the verse is going to be a bit more like stripped down, and I'll just like play these root notes. So then in Logic, I just lay down like a little synth bass that's going to hold that down. And I was continuing to reflect on the lyric that was already there, this like, if I wait until tomorrow, will that be too long for me? And continuing to think about like what was going on in my life at this little lyric, I've been staying up all night, because that's what I was doing. Very like authentic from the heart, like, this is what's going on with me. I've been staying up all night. And I was like, surely that's relatable to a lot of people. You start like questioning yourself and what's going on in your life, your identity, all this anxiety builds up. What happens? You become nocturnal, become a bad sleeper. So that was like one of the first lyrics I developed for the verse. And I wanted it to have this theme of like soul searching and trying to understand oneself. And the lyrics aren't like, they're not like really like wordy, overcomplicated, but I think there's like some existential themes there that I wanted to get at in the verse, posing like this kind of crazy question at the end. What if there is no me to be searching for? This idea of like the self and identity all being an illusion that we're obsessing about, and that can be like a very terrifying thought. The idea that all of this identity and all this all of these things that are so important to you are like a construction of the mind. That can be a very terrifying thing. But what I started thinking about, like what this song could be, it's like there's the terror of that, and there's also like the potential liberation. It's like liberating, freeing feeling from understanding that you don't have to obsess over all of these demands, all these expectations of like, I am this type of person, this is my identity, and therefore I have to fulfill XYZ. But rather you can be free. And that's some of the lyric that comes across in the chorus. I formulated this line, like, diffuse myself, lose myself, maybe I can be free. And I wanted this like imagery where all of this anxiety, all this like existential terror that's ramping up and keeping me up all night is analogous to like diffusing a bomb. And that is like why that lyric, defuse myself. I've had some people telling me that they thought it was diffuse, like D-I-F-F-U-S-E. It's actually defuse, D-E-F-U-S-E. Like you're diffusing a bomb. You're diffusing yourself, which is about to blow up into a catastrophe. Dealing with all of these like existential questions of like, what am I going to do with my life? What am I going to achieve? Oh my God, I'm running out of time. I started trying to tie these things together. And yeah, like again, like this song was always written like very late at night. So I had like my little notebook and I started like jotting these lyrics. which it would actually be great. Let me find those lyrics because I wrote them in a notebook one fateful night. So let me get that. Let me get those lyrics. Okay, I found them. This is pretty interesting. See this like scribbled, messy lyrics all over the page. These were probably written like January 2022. It's crazy, like how long this song was just like sitting dormant. That word I keep using, just waiting there and developing so slowly. You know, I'd like work on it for a day or two and then like not think about it again for like months or years, because again, like I hadn't taken that step of like commitment. Like I'm gonna bring this to fruition and finish it. I was just like directionless and unconfident, and to be fair, like working hard on some other things, and you know, trying to do well as a Tekken player, prepare for tournaments. You know, it's not like I was not like a total bum, but yeah, with this stuff, it was definitely on the back burner to say the least. This is very interesting to look at. I hadn't seen these in years. This title written up at the top, it says tomorrow, and then in parentheses, Turing test. I guess that was like a potential title or working title. And there's that very first lyric. I've been staying up all night, trying to find some sense of self. The world can be so... Actually, didn't write the word blind. I wrote the word blithe. The world can be so blithe. What does that mean again? Showing a casual and cheerful indifference, considered to be callous or improper. Okay, I see what I was going for. Like the world is indifferent to all of the crazy, terrible things going on. Then it says, so the world can be so blithe. It ended up being blind in the song. As madness pours through every room. I'm just like writing like random stream of consciousness stuff. And then you can see below that, while madness rises / soars / swells. You know, I'm trying to like figure out the right words. This is very like, you know, like a proto lyrical draft. It's kind of cool to see. But yeah, very like messy and just all over the page, trying to figure it out, and it's taking form. Anyway, kind of cool, part of the process. So where was I? Yeah, I talked about like the first little inkling, the first spark of it coming on the acoustic guitar in my mom's basement, like 2019, 2020. Sits there dormant on my phone, come back to it 2022, put a few ideas into Logic, start scribbling some lyrics in a notebook, and just crossing stuff out, scribbling away, trying to like find the vision, find the theme, and what the lyrics are going to be. So around that time as well, I think I started meeting up with my buddy Johnny, who I mentioned at the beginning. And Johnny and I used to play in a little rock trio long time ago, like, sheesh, 12, 11 years ago. We would write rock songs and play cover gigs. Eventually that kind of dissolved. But Johnny and I started meeting up again because we're both quite music obsessed and just talking about like what we were working on. And we both really like the band Gorillaz. And not even talking about it in a very serious way, just kind of like are like fantasizing about possibilities. Like, like what, we have like a virtual band like Gorillaz. Gorillaz are the coolest. What if you had like a little cartoon band? And we started like inventing some of the characters, and like the lead guy is like it's this kid Max, and he's like, it's very like Dexter's Lab kind of idea. Like, oh, he's like this little genius, like he can do like all this crazy tech stuff, but now he's he's getting jaded with all the science, and he wants to like direct his talents towards music, and so he's going to start like dabbling and learning music. And even those ideas right there, I can feel some of my myself coming through, because I feel like early on in my journey as an artist, and it's like I'm going to start the journey and start like learning how to develop myself as a musician and artist. And so like Max is like a vehicle for that. Like Max is going to start dabbling, he's going to start the journey, like just like me. So we're like, yeah, like he'll be this little scientist. And I was thinking about how this idea for like little cartoon bands was going to fit into the song Tomorrow that I was working on. Like I showed Johnny the demo, and he was like, oh, this is cool, like, you know, we gotta make this into a full thing. And so I started getting this thought. I'm like, all right, so Max goes down to his basement one night, like kind of his lab, his Dexter's lab, and he's going to start dabbling in music, but he doesn't have anybody to play with, so he's going to construct a little robot drummer. He's making the drummer, and then my idea is like, all right, I'm going to let this idea guide some of the production for the song. So I got this little intro, just with the bass doing the doom, 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 doom. And I'm like, all right, so the percussion sounds, I want them to almost be like he's testing out his little robot drummer. The drummer is like in a very primitive stage, and so I'm just imagining have like the robot's arm, this little like mechanical arm, and he's gonna trigger it to like do these like little snare shots. And so then that's what's like going on at the beginning of the song. Out of like these like obnoxious primitive drum sounds. So I'm like, all right, this Max testing out the robot. Then he's working away, and he starts singing his little existential lament about how he's been staying up all night and he's soul searching, but like, what if there is no me, and like, what am I gonna do with my life? But I gotta figure it out quick, because like we're all running out of time, and you know, I need to find some way to free myself from this anxiety so that I can like live a good life. And that's like what's going on with the verse and the chorus. And I was thinking, like, as he's singing this, the robot starts getting these like little sparks of sentience, like a little Frankenstein situation, like this thing's, or like Pinocchio, situation, like the robot's coming to life. And so then that started triggering me to write those lyrics in the second verse. The idea of something that was not sentient coming to life. And I had this lyric in mind, like, when I broke through the ice, that was like breaking through from non-consciousness, like into the world of consciousness, break through the ice, and follow the shapes and sounds. So now like there's all this activity, all this stuff going on. The world felt so alive, I couldn't believe what I'd become. And then that line, like, a steel toy, a real boy, that was like me trying to get that like that Pinocchio imagery across, a real boy. So even like that creative little discussion with Johnny, this like fantasizing about like a cartoon band project, started guiding some of the lyrical themes and the production choices. I'm like, all right, like the robot's coming alive. And so then the second chorus happens, and I had this voice memo of like me later on, like finger picking and singing the chorus. And so I inserted that into the Logic session, and I just put like crap loads of reverb on it, make it sound like really spacey. And so now in my mind, I'm like, okay, it's like this cavernous sound. I'm thinking like Max is noticing the robot is coming alive, and he's like walking towards it slowly, and then the robot like starts singing along, and that like gave me that idea. I'm gonna like insert this robot voice right along with my voice. Like they're singing together, and now it has become not just a human lament of like existential dread and like this is scary and there's a lot of anxiety to being here in the world and like having to figure out my purpose. Like it's not just a human lament anymore, but now the little robot drummer is singing it with him and they share this lament. They share the same plight now. And so then the song starts ramping up again, and I'll tell you a little bit about how the outro came to be. In my mind, I was thinking like now that they share this plight and they're understanding each other, that what they have to do now is jam the hell out and play music together and have this like cathartic release. And to me, like that is the best thing that anyone has ever come up with to quell these fears and like this pain and this anxiety. It's like music celebration. And so Max is going to show the little robot how to like jam the hell out and like release, let all of this go. So I knew I wanted to have like this big jam crazy outro section, but I didn't know like what to do or how it was going to sound, what it was going to be. But the song really started having a lot of like vision from taking my time developing it and it coming from like a very genuine place. Like I was telling you about, like the stress and anxiety about what was going on in my life, and then how it kind of came out, and then showing the song to my friends, and we formulated this little like creative vision that was like a bit cartoony, but also like quite colorful and like capable of inspiring, like I think a lot of ideas. We've got like sort of this narrative now of this little science kid builds a robot comes to life, they jam out together, and that can start like guiding some of the production choices. So then I think at that point, or there was like a verse, chorus. There's like that post-chorus. It's basically just a chorus, but there's like a big synth riff doing the melody. That to me was like the big awakening for the robot. And then I've just got this like, all right, I need this jam section. And it probably just left it sitting there for a few more weeks or months or whatever. And I think this next part of the story is where it makes a point of just how important it is to always be like listening to music. Particularly if you're an artist and you want to be creative, you got to be listening to a lot of music and be very open-minded, because like inspiration can come from anywhere. And I'll get more into that point because there's so many amazing stories that illustrate that. I watch a lot of music interviews with producers, and I've heard so many amazing stories about how like inspiration can come from anywhere. I'll get more into that later, but I have my own story to demonstrate that. So some of you may know about Marc Rebillet. It's pronounced Rebillet, the French way. This guy sits there with like a loop machine, and he makes like all these cool chord loops on his keyboard and like bass loops, drums. He's got, his setup there with his laptop, and he like makes loops, and then he sings and raps over it, and he's got this like really like big range, powerful, soulful voice. He's so freaking cool. But there's like a major comedic bent to it. But he's really talented, and I started getting a bit into his music and what he was doing. Like, this guy's really cool. And so I found this video of him on his radio show, Sway in the Morning. Like I was saying, I knew that I wanted like a big jammy outro section on tomorrow, but I had no idea what it was going to sound like. What I had in my mind was like, I want to make something like Every Planet We Reach Is Dead by Gorillaz. There's a cool outro section to that, but I didn't like know how something like that would fit into the song Tomorrow. So that idea was there. Anyway, I'm watching a bunch of Marc Rebillet stuff. I find him on Sway in the Morning, and he like on the spot, after kind of an awkward interview, actually, just on the spot starts making like a theme song for Sway in the Morning. It's so freaking cool. I'll put a link to this video in the description, but yeah, he's just jamming away, and he's making his little Sway in the Morning theme. Sway in the morning, I'm talking sway. And at the end, he like ramps it up. He builds it up to like take a solo. He sets up his own solo. It's like, damn it, I'm gonna tell you about it. And then he hits like this organ sound, this like old school organ, and just like it hits. It's got this like piercing, big projection to it, and he just starts ripping. Then he's just like jamming the hell out, and I was like, yo, that's it. I want, something like this. And he was just like jamming away on the keys, producing like these dissonances with like the rhythms, like just reckless abandon. So I had this like melodic component, but he would also sometimes just like throw his hands down on the keyboard and just like whap, 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 whap. And it really like inspired me. I had this like visceral quality to it. And he's jamming away, and it's ramping up, and then it's like, and it just like abruptly ends. And I was like, oh man, I'm gonna steal this idea. So I booted up my Logic session, and I don't know like where the chords exactly came from. It goes like F minor to the major 4 chord. Usually the 4 chord in the minor key would be minor. Usually it would go like F minor to B flat minor, but no reason you can't go to a major 4, so it goes F minor to B flat major. I don't know where exactly like those chords came from, but I sort of like laid those down, and I'm like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do the solo over. And I just started going through like the Logic preset instruments. There wasn't like a good organ sound. There wasn't anything that sounded just like what Marc Rebillet was doing, but I found this like electric clav thing, and I was like, yeah, like that's crunchy. I just want something that's kind of like crunchy and it's got this like piercing attitude to it. And I started taking some solos over those 2 chords that I laid down, and I just didn't know what I was doing, just hitting some notes and trying to like have that attitude like he had of just like throwing my hands down. And I'll show a little clip of I came up with this, and I just took out my phone, pressed record, and then played it out of my laptop speakers, and then sent it to Johnny. And I'm like, yo, I've got this idea for this outro, dude. Like, I'm gonna take this like this funky like crunchy solo on this clav thing. Was like, hell yeah, yes, like do it, keep developing this idea. I think like a lot of what's so great about Johnny is he's just so like encouraging and motivating and positive. Really helps me in the creative process in that way on working on my songs, and that's why I appreciate him so much. Yeah, what I was saying, like you find inspiration in interesting places, right? Like I found inspiration from Marc Rebillet doing an impromptu performance on Sway in the Morning. And, like, I don't know, like if I think of it as like, oh, I ripped it off. I mean, it's got like its own character. It's got its own thing going on, but like very blatantly inspired by it, at least in my mind. And particularly, I even took the idea to do an abrupt cutoff at the end of the song. And then just like out. And I'm like, I think this like works well with my theme of the song too. Like I imagined my character, like Max's parents, hear all the ruckus of him and his robot jamming out late at night, and they come downstairs and they just yank the plug, and then jam session over. This like just abrupt, sudden ending. The power being pulled, and it played in even a little bit to like the heavier existential themes for me as well, of like life's messed up like that, like the plug can just be pulled at any time and you don't know when it's coming. And I felt like that like reinforced this memento mori, seize the day, if I wait until tomorrow theme that I was talking about as well, of just that sudden like pull the plug. So a lot going on right there. I just talked so much. And I also feel like since I went through that whole story, like I've really loosened up a lot with talking on camera here. So maybe I'll just reiterate a little bit of what I was talking about at the beginning. I was saying, like, going through this process, making this song, has really got me reflecting a lot more on like artistry, musical artistry. What does it mean to be an artist? And I was thinking about like you have to find your strengths and what you're gonna play into as an artist. And like I'm so early on, I'm still figuring that out. Just trying to like look around at other artists and think like, you know, what is their thing? Been listening to a lot of Prince lately, and I was thinking like, what is Prince's thing? What's like just being cool as hell.
Can I play this guitar?
Just being like the coolest guy ever. And I think about like some pop artists, like what is Justin Bieber's thing? Why is he so successful? You know, like he sings pretty, and like his thing is like looking pretty, like being really good looking.
Really ridiculously good looking?
Think about like one of my musical heroes, Sting, and he writes like introspective songs and lots of rhyming couplets, and he sings like way up high in the freaking stratosphere. And he's also cool as hell. Just thinking about all that, and it's like, what is my thing? Because we can't all do that, you know. Like, I'm not gonna be cool like Prince. I'm not gonna sing super pretty and look super pretty like Justin Bieber. Like, I'm not gonna sing crazy freaking high and powerful like Sting. And it's like, you have to find your own thing. I think pursuing that, of course, like first step is like making genuine music. It comes from an authentic place, and that means something to me, and that, you know, like I think sounds cool. That's got to be like step one. I was saying like on one of my Twitter posts, like there's so many people making music, and there's such a huge variety of musical tastes, and it's hard to get people's attention nowadays because there's so many people vying for attention, and it's like our lives are so busy and frantic. It's like, how do you like stand out? How do you get people to listen to your music? And so I think making this video is like a big step for me, and like pursuing like what my thing is going to be, what my identity as an artist is going to be. Like, I want to make videos where I talk about the process, like what inspired me, how did it happen, what was going on in my life that made me make that song. And I think I'm really passionate about music. I'm like great at just yapping on and on about music. Like, I can just talk about it endlessly. If you ask like anyone who knows me, it's like it'll just like go forever. And so like, why not? I'll just put the camera on and I'll just yap, and I'll talk about my own music, talk about other music. Like, I think this is a good idea. And I mainly got the idea like to make this video from my mom, actually, where I told her I was working on a song, and she was like, oh, you know, it would be like so cool. You've been telling me about this like little demo you made, and now you're like gonna work with a producer to make it like a full thing. Like, you should talk about like the step by step, like how this happened. So I guess like the final phase that I need to talk about, because I told you about like early sparks of the song, like 2019, 2020. I'm in my basement, I'm sad. Play this little acoustic thing, voice memo. And then like 2022, start making it like a Logic file and developing it. And so like over the course of those like few months that year, I pretty much finished the demo, but it was just a demo. And I'm like, this is like, it's not good enough. I don't want to share this with anybody. And so then I think like the final phase is to jump all the way to 2025, which is like a few months ago. It's like, it's such a big arc here in me like finally learning how to not wait until tomorrow and make something happen with something that I care about. You know, she's pretty private. My girlfriend's pretty private, but so I won't like say too much, but I did, you know, meet this really amazing person over the last like year and a half. And she's, I'll say like, she just like lives and breathes creativity and like self-expression and not being like overly self-critical and judgmental. You know, she just lives this life of like living the creative process. And when you're around someone like that, when you spend a lot of time with someone like that, like it changes you. It really motivates you and can inspire you. And so seeing that over the last year or so, I think some of those changes started to manifest, and I was like, you know, I've got all these ideas. I've got all these like musical creative ideas that have just sat dormant for so long, like unbelievably long. And so I like took out my phone and I looked at the voice memos, and there were like over 600 voice memos of like melodies and chord progressions and just like the record of me living and loving music for like so many years, but never doing anything with it. I thought about her, I thought about my girlfriend and how she's so willing to like be creative and just put herself out there. And I was like, just what am I waiting for? Like, this can't stand. We can't just like go to the grave with 600 voice memos on the phone. Like, that's awful. That's like so sad. So I went online in search of a producer who's gonna just like help me get off my ass and like take this very important step. I found Nine Theory. This gentleman named Gabe, super talented producer, and I was like, screw waiting. Like the song itself, the song Tomorrow is like yelling at me, like, don't wait until tomorrow. So I just sent him the demo. I was like, hey man, I've been making like these scrappy demos on my laptop for a long time and never done anything with them. Like, can you help me? Because I'm totally stuck on my own. And he responded very quickly. Gabe was like, yeah, man, I can help you with this. He's like, song is cool. Like, I love that, like this outro section, this like halftime, like jam out outro. This thing's like cool. And I was like, he's taking an interest in it. Like now, like even that, you know, somebody like pointing out something specific of a song, like that they like, something specific in that can like really just get you motivated. It's not like this generic like, oh nice, yeah, it's good. Like the specific thing. It's like, yeah. So then he wanted to jump on a phone call. We got on a call, and I told him a bit about like my influences, what kind of stuff I'm into. And I told him I really like Gorillaz, and he was like, I love Gorillaz. I'm like, okay, this is great. Like, this is going great already because we both love Gorillaz. Like, what else do we need? And I also told him that I'm big into like a lot of 80s music and 80s production, and I showed him a little sample of a band called Yaz, aka Yazoo. They have an album that I'm obsessed with called Upstairs at Eric's. So he checked some of that stuff out, and we just got to work developing the song. I sent him all the files from the demo, and he started working his magic, like taking drum sounds and improving them, or synth sounds, bass sounds, mixing the vocals better. He's just giving it like this sheen and this polish, and deep diving into what's happening in the demo to really take it up a notch. And he said something when we were on the phone call together. He was like, oh yeah, like I was saying, I really like that halftime like jam out session at the end. And then he just goes, yeah, this part at the end, he's like, I can make this sound insane. I was like, all right, I'm in. Like, when he said that, he's like, I can make this part sound insane. It's just like the best thing to hear. So funny. He did. He added these like huge synths, this like synth wash in the background, screaming synths, while my little like collab solo is screaming along as well, and it just gave it this like huge sound. It's like this tidal wave of like electronics. And then when that abrupt cutoff happens, I think it's like all the more sort of surprising and jarring and cool. Yeah, I mean, that's like one thing of many that he really made happen with the song, like really brought it to another level. I mean, I remember like the first draft he sent me, like when the chorus hit, and it just like, the chorus slapped, like it hit so much harder than it did in the demo. The demo was like 3 instruments. It was like a little synth bass just going like boom, 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 boom. And like my vocal and some little drums. And when he sent me that draft and the chorus hit and like it was just set up right, I was like, whoa, like it sounds like poppy and catchy, and like a chorus is hitting. He did so much for it, and it was really cool. And I think he really delivered that 80s vibe. A lot of people have been like commenting like, oh, it just like sounds like my mom was saying, like, this sounds like something like that I listened to like when I was like a teenager, or I was in my 20s. And I'm like, good. That's what I'm going for. I love the 80s production. Got in touch with Gabe. He took it to the next level. Finally stopped waiting till tomorrow and just like went for it. And we got it done. And it's like one down, on to the next one. And as I said, like there's 600 voice memos on my phone. There's a lot more next ones coming. And I hope like a lot more videos like this where I can talk about how it came to be. Is there anything else that is like quite important to talk about right now? That's the question. I'm gonna have links in the description. Tomorrow by Badsleeper, all one word, is on Spotify, YouTube. It's on iHeartRadio. It's on AppleMusic. It's on YouTube Music, and it's on. Like, you make a reel on Instagram. Make a reel on Instagram and search Badsleeper, all one word, tomorrow. You can add it to your reel, and you can help spread it out there if you're a fan, or if you're not a fan. If you just want to, do me a favor, hook your boy up, spread that around. As I said, hopefully I can get Johnny Killian on camera soon, and we're gonna be making a lot of music together, I hope. Great guitar player. Hope that I can showcase some music that will really showcase his guitar abilities, because it's really cool. More music's coming. Make sure you're following. This was a lot of fun, just turning the camera on and talking. And so I mean, like the main thing with this video was talking about the song and developing it. I'm totally down, like, hopefully to make more videos just documenting like my day-to-day, what I'm doing with my piano learning. That's something very important to me. I've been working hard trying to learn piano, expand my technical abilities, but also like I want to get really good at piano to improve my songwriting so that I can make better and better stuff with Badsleeper. And I've been trying to resurrect my guitar abilities as well. I post like some videos on my Instagram from time to time of me just doing little covers. I think that stuff as well will assist in making better and better sounding recordings with Badsleeper. So you can follow me on Instagram. I'm TK_Joey Fury on Instagram. All the links will be in the description. Make sure you're following, and thanks for watching. This has been fun. I will catch you all on the flip flop. Peace.